Yes, so good morning to all of you. So today let us discuss about functions. Before proceeding, let us see what is a function. In fact, function is a block of code meant for performing a particular task. Okay. So what do we exactly mean by block of code? Block of code, it is nothing but it is a set of statements. Okay, these statements are written in such a way that they are performing some particular given task. Okay, then the question arises is that why do we need the function? Okay, let us say for example we have a very big program. Okay, thousands of lines of programs we have to develop. In that, if it is required to repeat, let us say, a set of 25, 30 statements in n number of locations in our program. Then you may think, sir, easy option is available. We can do copy paste. But if you do copy paste, it is not a good practice, because ultimately when the program is compiled, it will lead to a larger size of the executable file, which is not a good thing. So therefore, in case of C programming, what is done is a facility called function is given. These set of statements which we want to repeat, they can be written only once in the program, no need for repetition. Then they can be used anywhere you need in the program, any number of times, not necessarily once or twice. So that avoids the repetition, and you can effectively use it in any place in your program. Okay, so other details we will discuss later on, but first let us see what are the different types of functions. There are two types of functions. The first one is library functions and the second one is user defined functions. In case of library functions, that already you have used some of these functions: printf, scanf, string related functions, mathematics related functions. Already you have used. These functions are readily available in the library of C program. Okay, so these ready-made functions are available to the user, but only one precaution needs to be taken. It is that you have to include appropriate header file in your program. Like say, if you want to do with input and output, you should include a std.io.h. If you want to deal, or if you want to use predefined library functions related to strings, you have to include string.h. Similarly, if you want to use any predefined functions related to mathematics, you have to include maths.h. Okay. If you want to use any graphics function, then you should include graphics.h. Okay. So that we have to include appropriate header file in our program. Then we can write our own program, our own functions in the program. Okay. So how do we write the functions? Let us see at later stage. But now firstly let us see what are the benefits of using functions. It provides the modularity to the program structure. Means that actually the program can be divided into different small modules, and we can keep on developing these modules. And if we go for the functions, the reusability of the code, the reusability of the statements, that increases. Okay, that once we write a function, and that function can be used in n number of places in our program, so the code becomes the reusable. In case of large programs, it is very difficult to go for debugging, editing of the programs. So therefore, if we break this program into smaller modules called functions, then it becomes very easy to debug and edit the programs. Okay. So using functions also makes your program more readable and easy to understand. And then if we use the functions can be parallelly developed by the different people, and they can make the faster development of the application. So then we have to have some protocols in the program. How can we define a function? How can we write a function? How can we use a function? Let us see all these things. Okay. So already we have used the various variables in our programs: integer, float, double, all this. So before the use, they must be declared. Similarly, the functions also need to be declared. So usually once you define or once you write all your include statements, below that the functions are declared. So what is the declaration of a function? Let us see. So the first part of the declaration, it is the return type. Okay. So every function returns data. So that return type of data is written in the beginning. So already you have seen in front of the name, sometimes we have written void, sometimes we have written integer, like that. So main is also a function. So for the declaration of the function, first part is which type of data it is going to return, and second part is what is the name of the function. As it's very clear that as we can use n number of different variables in our program, every variable should have a different name. Similarly, we can use n number of functions in our program, a large number of programs. So every function should have a unique name associated with it. That is the second part. You can see it in the blue light. Then into bracket, the parameters are written. Type 1, that is which type of data it is. Parameter name, that's in fact a variable name, like that. It can have the n number of parameters, which are also called as the arguments. Arguments are parameters. They are nothing but they are inputs given to the function, and return type is the output given by the function. Okay. So then now let us see one example. You see this example. In this example, what I have done is I have taken a very simple function by the name square. So you see the third line on this. Okay. It is the float square, then inside brackets float x. Okay. So what I will be doing is I will be giving data which is of floating type, and after this function is executed, I will get the result which is again a float. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that this function, what I am having in my programs, the name of the function is square. It will take one float number, it will return another float number. Okay. Now you come to the main, int main. So int main, what does it mean? Main is a function which does not take any inputs, but whereas if you see the square, that takes a input which is a floating type, but this main does not take input, and it will be giving back one return integer type of data return. Here I have defined two variables m and n float type, and I will be reading the value of the number whose square is to be found out, that I will be putting it in m. Okay. So once I read this number m from keyboard, I will be passing this number m to my function square. Then I will get back the square value of m. You will see that statement n equal to square into bracket m. What does it mean? That I am calling the function square, and to that function I am giving the input m. So therefore it goes to that function square. From here it stops, it goes to that function square. So that is, from here it goes to this function, it works it out, and then it comes back to this place, and whatever the value it is returning, that value will get stored in n. Okay. So now printf. Okay, of course I have to have one return statement here. So now see, if we look into this, this is a statement where I am calling the function. In fact, a function can be called by two different ways. Let us see which are these. Okay. So the first way of calling the function, in fact it is using the function, it is call by value. Second is a call by reference. These are the two methods where you have a call by value and call by reference. Okay. So in case of the first one, call by value, okay, you see the functions can have inputs, they take the inputs and they produce the output. See, if I want to give an input directly a value, in that case it is called by the value. Okay, that we call it as call by value. In the earlier example, you see this program, this is a call by value, the value of m, it is directly given. Okay, so call by value. Okay. Then we have the second type. This second type, it is a call by reference. Okay. So see here, I have one more function, one more program using the function call by name. Very simple. That I have include stdio.h void swap. The name of the function is swap. Void means it will not return any value. Remember, if you don't write anything in front of the name of the function, by default it is taken as it will be returning an integer type of data. Okay. So this function, if you look at this very carefully, it does not return anything because we have written here void. The swap, it is the name of the function. Then these are the two inputs, a and b, two inputs are given to this. Okay. Swap, as the name itself indicates, that we are going to exchange the values of these two. Okay, come to the main. Two integers m and n are written. Then we are calling this. Okay, then swap, from here it goes. It stores the value of a in temporary variable. Then that takes the value of b into a, then temporary into a. Thus it changes or exchanges the values of a and b. So now let us go for the next one, call by reference. Okay. So for this particularly call by reference, let me give you a very simple example which you can easily understand. Let us say you go from college to your home. By that time you are hungry. Then what do? You ask your mother, अरे आई मला खूप भूक लागलाय, काहीतरी दे खायला. So then what does your mother do? She goes into kitchen and brings something and gives you for eating. Okay, this is one way. Okay. And by the time you go to your home, you imagine that your mother is busy. Your mother is busy and she says, अरे त्या किचन मध्ये वरच्या डब्यामध्ये लाडू ठेवलंय, घेऊन खा. Okay. So then, is it that your mother is directly giving you something to eat? No. She is telling you where it is available. Where it is available. Exactly in the same way, in case of call by reference, the value is not given. In fact, where the value is available, that is told. Okay. So for this, already you know about the pointers. In case of functions, what we do is we don't give the value, In fact, we give the address of that value where it is available. Okay. So now you look into this. So void swap. Void, of course, it is a return type, does not return anything. Swap is the name of the function. Here you see int star a, int star b. Okay. Means that two addresses we will be giving. Addresses in the sense reference where these are available. Okay. So now you see int main, then int 22, 24. Instead of reading, those values are initialized. So printf values before swap m and n they are written. Then we call the swap function. Here you see we are not making it m comma n. We are making it ampersand m ampersand n. Ampersand m stands for address of m, and ampersand n stands for address of n. Okay. So we pass on the addresses of m and n to the function. So from here it comes to this function. So in case of this, again a temporary variable is defined. So in temporary we write it as temp equal to star a. Star a stands for contents of that address. In case of a, what is available? The address of m is available. Okay. So that the value of m, wherever it is available in the memory, it is transferred into temporary temporary variable. Okay. Then now a is free. So then what we do is we bring the contents of b into a. Okay. So a we have lost now, but however a is available in temp. Okay. So that the value of temp, whatever is available, that is equal to the value of a, that will be transferred into b. Okay. Now the values of a and b are interchanged. Okay. Now we display them and then we return back and it stops the execution of program. Okay. So now we have to discuss something about what is referred to as a scope of the variables. So scope means exactly what? Scope means that it is the visibility of the variables as well as usability of the variables. Okay. So based on how it is, now if we go back, let us see this program. In this you notice that in main we have defined two variables m and n. In swap we have defined temporary TMP. So these three variables, two of them are defined in main and one of them is defined in swap. What does it mean? It means that can I use TMP in main, or can I use m or n or both of them in swap? Okay. So that is what it is called as visibility. Okay. Now you see, as temp is defined inside swap, it cannot be used inside main. You cannot have access to this variable from main. Similarly, you cannot modify the value of m and n directly from swap. Okay. So that is what it is called as the visibility of variables. Okay. So depending on the where they are defined, see there are two basic types of variables. One is called as a local variable, that is they are defined inside a block. Global variables, okay, they are available throughout the function. Okay. Now let us see that here, see m and n are the local variables for main. They cannot be used outside main. Okay. But if you look at this, TMP. Okay, this TMP variable is local for the swap function. So outside the swap, TMP is not available. Outside main, that m and n are not available. M and n, they are local variables to main. TMP is local variable to swap. Okay. So the local variables are available only inside the function where they are defined. Okay. But if you look at the second type, global variables. Okay. Global variables, they are such variables where they are available to all functions. Any function in the program, hundreds of functions or n number of functions, they can use those variables. They can read, they can write, or whatever the things are there, they can deal with those variables. Such variables are called as local variables. Global variables. Okay. Now let us look into this. Okay. So include stdio.h, int main, local variable definition and initialization. Okay, see, int x, y, z. Okay, these are the variables x, y, z. They are local for main. They cannot be used. Okay, so here what I have made is I have made x equal to 20, y equal to 30, added and printed and terminated the program. So all these three variables, they are local variables for this function main. Okay. Now let us work on the global variables. Let us see the global variables. As I said that these global variables are available throughout the program. From main you can modify, you can read, you can write. From any other function you can read, write, like that. So they are available throughout. Okay. Now you see that this is include stdio.h. I have defined here integer z. Okay, so I have not defined this integer z inside main. I have not defined this inside any function. It is outside. Normally, immediately after the declaration section, after the include section, these variables are defined. Okay, they are neither inside main, they are not inside any other function, they are outside of the all functions. Okay, so these variables are accessible from main or they are accessible from any function. Okay, you see the difference here. In this case, in earlier program, z is defined inside main, but here z is defined outside main. So now it becomes a global variable. Okay, rest of the program is self-explanatory. So now let us move on to the the formal parameters. Okay, so in case of this, let us go back to a function here. Okay, so earlier first function. Okay, so in case of this swap, see here while defining the function, I have made it as int a and int b. When I call this function swap, okay, the value of m goes into a, the value of n goes into b. These variables a and b, they are called as formal variables. Okay, so they are the place where you pass on the inputs and you put them, and from them they are taken inside the function and they can be utilized. Okay, so these variables defined in the list of the arguments are also what is called as the parameters. They are called as the formal functions. Okay, so these are the formal parameters. So now let us look into something called as the static variables. Okay, so here already we have seen what is the scope of the variable. Okay, then there is a something called what is called as the life of a variable. Okay, now if you go back to the function, okay, earlier function, let us say C, in this case you have a int a formal variable A, formal variable B, and this variable temperature temp defined inside the swap. Okay. Now these variables TMP, A, B, they are not existing at all. They come into existence only when you call the function. Okay, they come into existence only when you call the function. Okay, and they are destroyed immediately after the completion of that particular function. They are no more available. They are no more available after the execution of the function stops. Okay, so the life of these variables, local variables, it is as long as the function is under execution. Okay, but you see the other case, global variables are created when the program execution starts. See a difference. Now I am saying that the program execution, I am not saying that the function execution. So global variables are created when the program execution starts, and they are destroyed only when the program execution terminates. But whereas for local variables, what is alive? They are created when the function execution starts, and they are destroyed when the the function execution stops. Life is limited to the execution of that particular function for local variables. For global variables, it is the life right from the beginning of the program till the end of the program. That is the life. Okay. So now there is a special type of variables called static variables. Okay. What is a static variable? Static variable is a variable. It is created when a program execution gets started, and they exist till the program execution continues. They are destroyed only when the program execution is cancelled or the examination is terminated. Okay. So see the difference between global variables and the static variables. Static variables, till the scope, visibility, accessibility is limited to the function. If I define a static variable inside the swap, that is available only inside the swap function, that is not available outside the swap function. Okay. So therefore the static variables are not global variables. Please remember, they cannot be accessed from anywhere. They can be accessed only inside the function, but they continue to exist. They are not destroyed. They are not destroyed. Okay. So they continue to exist. One more important property associated with the static variables is that they are initialized only once. They are not initialized every time the function is called. Only first time when the function is called, they are initialized. Initial value, you can give any value, but once they are initialized, next time when you start the execution of the same function, they begin with the previous value. They do not start with again initialization. That is the important parameter. Okay. So how do we define a function? This is very simple. That in front of the type of the data you write the keyword static. Static int x means that x is a static integer type of data. If required, we can even give the initial value like this: static data type variable name equal to variable value. I can write it as static int x equal to 100, means that x is my static variable, static integer variable with the initial value equal to 100. Like this we can go for using the static variables. Okay. So one important aspect related to static variables is their scope is right from the first time when the function is executed till the program gets terminated. But visibility, the scope, is limited to only that function. But also you remember, as these static variables are continue to exist in the memory, we can access them even outside the function using the pointers. They are not destroyed, they are available. Therefore, we can use them outside the functions indirectly, not directly, using the pointers. Okay. So that's all what I wanted to discuss about the functions in the program. So let us now stop, and I hope you have understood this, and I hope you and your family members are doing good. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.